Recording in progress.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Selamat datang tamu undangan di acara kuliah umum Hybrid Fakultas Ilmu Komunikasi Universitas Islam Riau dengan tema Digitalization of University Education and Research as Consequence of the COVID-19 a Paradigmatical Change. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang terhormat International Office Bapak Dr. Randy Prayuda. Yang terhormat narasumber kita pada pagi hari ini, Bapak Profesor Dr. Stefan Koos, Guru Besar Universitas Bundeswehr Munchen. Welcome to the Faculty of Communication, sir. Yang terhormat Dekan Fakultas Ilmu Komunikasi Universitas Islam Riau, Bapak Dr. Muhammad R. Imam Riawan MIKOM. Yang terhormat Wakil Dekan 1 Bidang Akademis, Ibu Cutra Aslinda MIKOM. Yang terhormat Wakil Dekan 2 Bidang Keuangan dan Kepegawaian, Ibu Eka Fitri Kurniawati MIKOM. Yang terhormat Ketua Program Studi Ilmu Komunikasi, Ibu Dr. Fatmawati SIPMM. Yang terhormat Sekretaris Prodi Fakultas Ilmu Komunikasi, Bapak Beni Handayani MIKOM. Dan yang terhormat Kepala Tata Usaha beserta staf dan karyawan Fakultas Ilmu Komunikasi Universitas Islam Riau. Selamat datang kami ucapkan kepada tamu undangan dan peserta seminar. Syukur alhamdulillah kita ucapkan kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala atas rahmat dan hidayahnya sehingga terselenggaranya kuliah umum dengan tema Digitalization of University Education and Research as Consequence of the COVID-19, a Paradigmatical Change. Salawat dan salam kita sampaikan kepada junjungan alam Nabi Muhammad SAW dengan mengucapkan Allahumma sholli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad. Untuk mengawali acara kita pada siang hari ini, marilah kita dengarkan pembacaan doa yang akan disampaikan oleh Dean. Kepada Dean dipersilakan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Hamdan syakirin, hamdan na'imin, hamdan yuafi ni'amahu wa yukafi'u mazidah. Allahumma ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, tiada kata dan rasa yang pantas kami haturkan kepadamu pagi hari ini selain rasa syukur kepadamu atas segala rahmat dan hikmah yang telah engkau anugerahkan kepada kami, sehingga kami bisa hadir bersama untuk mengikuti kegiatan kuliah umum pada siang hari ini. Untuk itu ya Allah ya Rahman, jadikanlah acara kami ini sebagai acara yang engkau ridhoi, yang membawa barokah, rahmat, taufik dan hidayahmu buat kami semua. Ya Allah ya Tuhan kami, ilmumu begitu luas dan tak terbatas. Oleh karena itu, anugerahkanlah kepada kami ilmu yang bermanfaat sebagai bekal kami dalam menjalani hidup dan kehidupan, serta berilah kami kekuatan untuk mampu mengamalkan dan menyebarluaskan ilmu yang telah engkau anugerahkan kepada kami. Limpahkanlah kepada kami yang hadir pada acara kali ini kesehatan, kekuatan, kemudahan, dan keikhlasan, serta kecerdasan dan kearifan dalam mengikuti sosialisasi ini. Ya Allah yang Maha Pengasih, satukanlah hati kami, padukanlah langkah kami, apungkan pengetahuan dan segarkan pemahaman kami agar kami dapat memetik hikmah yang terkandung di dalamnya. Jadikanlah kegiatan ini sebagai amal ibadah dan dapat terlaksana dengan baik dan sukses. Ya Allah yang Maha Pengampun, kami sadar ya Allah, tak sedetik pun kami bebas dari kesalahan, baik itu disengaja atau tidak. Tak sejengkal pun di hati kami yang bebas dari kesombongan, kealpaan dan kehinaan. Ampunkanlah dosa-dosa kami ya Allah, ampunkanlah dosa-dosa kedua orang tua kami dan orang-orang yang telah berjasa dalam membentuk kami seperti sekarang ini ya Allah. Karena bila engkau tidak ampuni, niscaya kami akan selamanya dalam kehinaan ya Allah. Ya Allah ya Tuhan kami, akhirnya kami hanya bisa berharap bahwa engkaulah satu-satunya yang mendengar setiap keluh kesah kami, dan hanya engkaulah yang akan mengabulkan setiap permohonan kami. Rabbana zalamna anfusana wa illam taghfir lana wa tarhamna lanakunanna minal khasirin. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wassalamun alal mursalin. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Menyanyikan lagu Indonesia Raya yang akan dipandu oleh Aulia Puspita. Hadirin dimohon berdiri. Kepada Bapak, Ibu, dan tamu undangan kami persilakan untuk duduk kembali. Acara selanjutnya, kata sambutan oleh Dekan Fakultas Ilmu Komunikasi Universitas Islam Riau kepada Bapak Dr. Muhammad A.R. Imam Riawan Ikom. Waktu dan tempat kami persilakan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahillazi hadana lihadza wa ma kunna linahtadiya laula an hadanallah. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh la nabiyya wa la rasula ba'da. Our honorable guest lecturer in Faculty of Communication UIR, Professor Dr. Stefan Koos. Welcome to our university. Our lecture in communication, Vice Dean 1, 2nd and 3rd. Our Head of Program of Communication, Dr. Fatmawati, and all of students from Faculty of Ilmu Communication, Communication Science. Today we have very glad to welcoming our professor lecturing in Faculty of Communication. We face the digitalization in new era of communication and in new era of media. We face some disruption in communication and all of activity, daily activity. Today we face communication interpersonal as in digital communication. We change our activity from face-to-face communication to be media mediated communication by computer. Now we have smartphone to chat, to send any files, to send any message each other, to our family, to our student, to our brother, and to all our beloved. And we must active in social media today, because in Indonesia, Prof, if you got your WhatsApp double checklist, but you have not answered the message, it will be family war. Because what? Because we must answer the message from our beloved. Many things help in communication era today, as now I said that communication interpersonal, then interactive play media, also information search media, and collective participatory media, and substitute of broadcasting media. We have more interactivity in communication, and we have more disruption in digital media today. In this opportunity, we will like to welcome our professor lecturer, Professor Stefan Koos, to coming here to say about one of the activity that held in social media, that help by using digital media today. We are talking about how education use computer mediated communication. We hope we can get some information and the development of using technology or digitalization among education. In Indonesia, we have many problems when communication, education used by media digital. We have a problem for infrastructure. We have problem about networking. We have a problem the ability of economic student who will use the smartphone or smart media today. Many things have faced by Indonesian people today, from the city and until the village. We hope we can hear from Professor Stefan Koos about how mediated computer communication to be held among education activity. We also hope Faculty of Communication being one of faculty in Indonesia who also can send our student abroad. We have many lecturers are coming from study abroad, like Happy Wulandari, MSc from Malaysia. He is very fluent in English. We also have Dr. Dafrizal, Dr. Eko Hero. We have also Dr. Candida, Ibu Tessa Sasrini, become HRD who was fluent in English. We hope in this opportunity, in this visiting lecture from Professor Stefan Koos, all students, maybe one of our lecture can go to German. Anybody want going to German? I don't hear that. Really? Of course. This is our opportunity to show that faculty communication member can do something and go abroad to study, to show, and to learn many things in communication. And of course, because Dr. Stefan Koos are coming from law faculty or law program, we can learn about how the law or comparison law between communication law in Indonesia and Germany. We can also hear about how German government to lead the communication, to control communication by using digital communication. That's all I think that can I say in this moment. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Baiklah, untuk acara selanjutnya akan saya serahkan kepada moderator kita pada siang hari ini, Ibu Happy Wulan dari SIKOM MSC. Kepada Ibu, waktu dan tempat dipersilahkan.
Oke, terima kasih kepada MC kita hari ini. Kita sedang bersama dengan Mr. Koos, biasa dipanggil Mr. Koos, it's okay, right? So, seperti yang teman-teman mahasiswa bisa lihat, judulnya di belakang, cuman hari ini kita akan ganti atas bahwasannya secara kita anak komunikasi kan, lebih bagus yang realita langsung karena kita mostly bikin konten dan lain sebagainya, and then we want to know what is happening right now in the world, like, come on, bring it on, gitu kan. So, the title changed, also the theme also changed, and also, but still Mr. Koos will provide us with several points in scientific point of view. Also, Mr. Koos here can speak Indonesia fluently, so it's okay if you speak in Indonesia also, but if you want to try, then go on. And then other than that, he's been here for 12 years, 12 tahun udah di sini Mr. Koosnya, jadi beberapa hal beliau bisa ngerti, tapi kalau misalnya memang ada kalimat-kalimat sulit atau kata-kata sulit yang dibahas Indonesia, nanti saya izin bantu teman-teman buat rewording ke beliau gitu ya. So, tanpa lanjutin lagi dari saya, kita langsung ke Pak Koosnya aja. Mr. Koos, it's your time. Thank you.
Halo, selamat siang. Saya bisa bahasa Indonesia sedikit, tapi tidak mengerti baik ya. Mungkin lebih baik kalau bisa bahasa Inggris nanti jika tanya di bahasa Inggris kalau bisa ya. Kalau tidak bisa di bahasa Indonesia dan we will have translation. So untuk jujur bahasa Indonesia saya tidak cukup untuk kuliah ya. Itu tidak eksak, cukup eksak ya. Dan saya dari law, dari hukum, dan hukum harus eksak. Ya. Tapi oke, tentu saja bahasa Inggris juga tidak eksak dari perspektif hukum Jerman. Hukum Jerman, bahasa Jerman itu yang tereksak, bahasa yang tereksak ya. Tapi bahasa Jerman saya kira tidak bisa di sini ya. Oke. Sorry for maaf atas ganti judul hari ini. Saya kira mungkin judul ini lebih menarik dan saya juga kira bahwa topiknya pandemik sudah semua lelah, semua tidak mau dengar tentang pandemik ya. Itu untuk saya hari yang ketiga saya bisa beri kuliah di depan orang-orang yang benar. 2 tahun saya beri kuliah di Zoom. Itu tidak kuliah dengan orang, itu kuliah dengan komputer. Dan di sini saya bisa ada orang dengan cam, tapi di Jerman mahasiswa saya tidak pernah punya cam karena ada data protection. Yeah. So it is not very motivating for me. So I'm very, very happy, even if I go high risk here, I'm very happy that I can teach normally now. So now I change to English. The individual property in virtual and augmented realities, I know I should not walk because you have no, you don't have a picture of me, so I can walk, yeah? So I prefer to walk around. Is that okay for the technique, yeah? Because I hate to stand on that pult. Virtual and augmented reality. This is a topic I don't know much about. Why? Because I do that maybe since 3-4 months. I have a friend in my university from another faculty. He is a marketing guy and he make research on augmented reality especially. And he asked me why we don't apply for a research project, interdisciplinary and international research project, together with Finnish, Estonian, and also British researchers on that topic, but interdisciplinary, because there's coming up a lot of things to us. And not working? Oh, no. And before we talk about why something is coming up to us, we should talk about what we talk about here. And this is the mixed reality. One aspect is the augmented reality. When we talk about augmented reality, we speak about realistic things, real things, and we add something virtually on it. For example, we could add a chair here in the augmented reality. The chair can be seen if we have a certain device for that, and but it is not there, but virtually it is there. And we see the floor, we see the ground, we see the house, we see the room, and we see this virtual chair. Or I can use augmented reality to focus something, someone, and then I have a projection of something on you. For example, we can make cyberbullying, funny cyberbullying. We can have augmented reality glasses, and I look at you, and then you have maybe donkey ears on it, yeah? Something like that. Funny and not so funny, and of course you can bully someone very hard with that. And we have augmented reality, so we augment the reality, and we have augmented virtuality. This means we mix virtual rooms with the real. And all this is mixed reality. Now, this is, if you read about that scientifically, not so clear. Some people define it different. I define it like that. And this is the things we know, because this is an augmented reality glasses, or this is actually a virtual reality glass. You walk around with that, and then you see a totally virtual space. Virtual reality is the full virtual room. Or you walk around with that and something adding to the reality you see through it. Now, as long as we have that here, we have not a big topic, a big problem for the society. But the technology is developing. Can I take that off? It is developing, and so the micro is working better without that. Yeah, right. And then we will have glasses like I wear here, and someone makes something like that, and already the glasses work, and we don't know what does the person do with us. So you look at me now, Mr. Dekan, and maybe you use augmented reality glasses or virtual reality glasses, but augmented reality glasses, and you project something on me and put it on the platform you are connected with, because the Chinese sell you these glasses, and there is a platform for it, and anybody who has the glasses can see what you project. And this is not only that you do it for now, it is forever maybe, because you put it to the blockchain. Yeah? And then I'm forever marked with something you put on there, because you cannot like me, and then you put that. This is not nice, and this is a problem. We have a lot of problems legally, but the legal problems are just the translation of the real, of the social problems. Because when you talk about communication science, or when we talk about legal science, or we talk about economy, or we talk about engineering or IT, then we should be free for the future from the separation of the topics. We must be all much more interdisciplinary in the future. And I cannot understand all this without the social science, and the social science cannot understand all that with the law. The law is nothing else than an instrument for trust and for shaping the society in that way or in that way. So we need about the legal things. Why it's no. So here are some examples. We all read about that. This is the metaverse. Mr. Zuckerberg, whom I hardly mistrust. I don't trust him at all. Mr. Zuckerberg wants workrooms. We go to work in these workrooms. We have our meetings there. Or NVIDIA is a chip producer, plans virtual fabrics. So BMW will have a fabric which is totally virtually, but it's just a one-to-one copy of the real fabric. And then with a one-to-one copy of the workers, and then you can try out how the process of production of a new car will work and how we plan that. So you have the virtual machines, you have the virtual workers, you have the virtual rooms, and also there is also fun. Maybe you heard that some people buy ground in the metaverse already. So they buy their property, and they will buy a house there, and then people buy a virtual Mickey Mouse as as an artwork for their living room in the virtuality, and this is an NFT. There's only 10 Mickey Mouse to sell, and they cost $500, something like that. All these things, and I don't want to talk about whether that is hype or not, and I don't want to talk about whether that is the future. My personal opinion is not clear that it will come, because 20 years ago we had something very similar, the real world, or I think it was a real world, that was the name, and the companies already bought a lot of space for advertising in this real world, but nobody used it anymore. And the MMORPG games, these online role games, are still used, and it's not totally new, this all, because already 2006, one of my assistants wrote an open office article on what is the avatar and the sword of the avatar in this role game. What is the legal quality of that? Is that sword, which were sold in eBay by the Chinese, had this sword in this role game and then sold it in eBay, or sold whole avatars which were already developed, because it took a long time to develop an avatar. What is the legal quality of that? Is that property? Is there a personality right behind that? And now it comes new. So I'm a little bit too fast, I think, with that. We have several issues when we talk about VR and AR. I don't know, what was before? Can you just one more before? Not working? It doesn't matter. One thing is the privacy rights, and the privacy rights is also a question related to the communication. Why? 1980, I think, or 82, the German Constitutional Court made a decision about a survey of the state. The government made a survey about the population, wanted to know how many people live in the world. This must be back. How many people live in the world, how many people have a good income, what is the income level of the people, and so on and so on. People were very angry about that, and so they claimed against that, and so this is okay. Okay, can be like this, can be like that. And the people claimed, and the Constitutional Court said, this is forbidden in the Constitution. Why? Because if we all time under observation, then we will not dare to speak out loud what we think. And then we will be handicapped. So the observation is stopping us from freedom. And I ask you as communication scientists, would you agree that from 1982 until 2022, the idea about what is privacy changed radically or not? I think you would agree. Because if you see your students, the lecturers here in front, if you see your students and you see what they post in the internet, and how they use the platform, and what they give free from their intimacy, then we would say in the 1980s, people would be shocked. But nowadays, nobody is shocked anymore if the grandma is in the coffin in the Facebook, or the children playing on the beach, naked, half naked, and so, and are in the Facebook. Or we see when the people eat and have the fat on the mouth, and this is not looking nice, yeah? I mean, I stopped my Facebook membership because I was full of seeing this. I didn't want to see that anymore, and so I stopped that and let them give me back my data. So we are under observation, and it will be more than before, because in the moment we have a handy, you take this phone, and I take this phone to you, and then you will be angry because you see that I make a movie of you. But if we have these glasses, then I can make all the time photos of everybody, I can all the time observe you, and if you move around in the virtual reality, then it's even worse, because in the virtual reality, Mr. Zuckerberg will know all, and there is hundreds of data points of your personality when you move only 5 minutes in the virtual reality. Everything is observed, anything more, much more than it is anyway already when you move in the internet. And the problem is how we solve that. No, this is not the right one. Next, no, this is okay, okay. This is this decision, we don't read that. So, how we solve that problem. In the first try that Alphabet, now Alphabet, then Google, brought out in the market augmented reality glasses or virtual reality glasses, they already knew that will happen. And so they issued that paper here, don't be a glass hole, don't be an asshole, don't be a glass hole. So it means if you buy our product, then please be careful with the people's personality and privacy, and don't use it that the people will lose their privacy. So I think the people in Alphabet, in Google, were already very visionary. They already noticed there will be no limits for that. And then they said, if we are not careful and the people all the time misuse that, maybe then government, in that case the US government, will maybe forbid it. So we must make the people be careful. So this is already a hint for what will happen, yeah. So, and what must be one part of the solution, that we need a new kind of behavioral behavior in the society. So the society must change, and the dangerous thing is if the society is still the same, but we come into this digitalization, virtualizations, and the society is not adapting to it, then we will have a heavy problem if the law is not able to limit it. And I can tell you now already that the law will not be able to limit it. Can you next one? So, before we talk all about this and about my view about how we limit it and whether we can do it, we must talk about several aspects which are very interesting because my topic is the subject, the person, and its personality and its property. And property is in our society also a part of our personality. And with property we also express ourselves in a certain way. And so what is the property in the virtual world? And what is it like, and how is it dealt with? So if I have this here, and it is my property, you see it, I have it in the hand. In the German law, for example, this gives the idea that I'm also the owner. So the German law says if you have it in your possession and you are the owner, it can be you are not, but everybody can trust that I have it in possession and I'm the owner of it. So possession, ownership is of course different. I have something material, and if we talk about the legal qualification of virtual things, like this chair here in the middle, which is not there but in the virtual reality is there, or like your Mickey Mouse in your virtual home in the metaverse, then we must think about whether the law is still able to handle that, or whether we have a real disruption in the law of the property. What speaks for property and what does not speak for property? For property speaks that everybody can see that. For property speaks that people sell it and buy it. For property speaks already a lot, for example, also that obviously these virtual things have a market value. Against property speaks actually the persistence of it. It's not persistent and we cannot touch it. Now, it's not here the place for make a law comparison about this, because it depends on the legal system whether you can say it's virtual property. If you want to know about virtual property and you make a research on papers, you will find a lot of American papers on that. And American papers are very easy to say there is virtual property and this is a legal qualification, but this is because the American law, the common law, sees property in a different way than the continental law system. So also including your law system, which is based on the Dutch system. So the German law, for example, sees differentiate between property and ownership. And the ownership is something which you can only have in a thing, die Sache. In Dutch is the Zaken. And the Zaken in your civil law is also the Zaken, but also defined different than in the German civil law. So Zaken are something I can touch, only material things. So this is not a material thing. Is this a problem? I show you it is. Because, for example, if you have the Pokemon Go, and someone used this Pokemon Go game, and then the Pokemon Go company, Sony, I think, is projecting some fighting place or some important Pokemon in your property, in your garden. It will disturb you, because the people will come there and will try to catch this Pokemon. So it's the same as if you put some attribute to your property. I can put some attribute to your car or your house, or I can build something. So this is a problem. And another example, let's say you are an architect. You build a very sophisticated new architectural house, and some other architect thinks, this is not nice, it is not so interesting, and adds something to this architecture, in the virtual reality, of course, in the augmented reality. So you see this house, like this building here, and if you have these glasses on, there's some Garuda on the top, which is not real, but virtual. Yeah? This changed totally the impression of this building. It changed totally the impression of the artwork or of the architecture. So one question is, can the architect do something against that? Because it changed his hakchipta, his intellectual property. And the second question is, if I add something to the things of someone else, for example, I have an artwork and I add something, is this a new artwork, which I'm the owner of, the copyright owner? Yeah. So these hybrid things. So we talk about hybrid real and hybrid virtual things. This is all not solved. And until now, we don't know how to do that. So ownership and virtualization, next one, is a big topic for us. And we must think whether the concept of ownership and property needs to be reconsidered, because we have a dissolution of the separation of material and immaterial. Before it was very easy. There were things and there were immaterial goods. The immaterial goods were the brands, were the patents, were the copyright, and so on. But already when we talk about Bitcoin, we don't know what it is. The German High Court for civil things, German Federal High Court said in a relatively new decision that Bitcoins are nor things nor immaterial goods. They are a good of own value, something sui generis. Always when the Federal High Court talks about sui generis, we know he doesn't know how to qualify it really. Or how we handle an NFT. What is an NFT? Yeah, is an NFT a thing, or is it not a thing? Is it an immaterial good, or is it not an immaterial good? NFTs, we must maybe explain, because not anybody knows exactly what that is. We just hear from that in the news and in the journals that Indonesians get rich reselling or buying NFTs. But what is an NFT? There are two kinds of NFT. One NFT is intrinsic, the other one is extrinsic. Extrinsic means it expresses something which is in the real life. So I can have an extrinsic NFT which expresses a value deducing from something real. For example, you can have an old-timer which is valuable, and you can issue NFTs on that old-timer. Or you can have some value paper, some shares, for example. Theoretically, we can issue NFTs which express this share, and theoretically we could say we sell the shares not by the normal way, we sell the shares by transferring the NFT in the blockchain. Germany does that already in a limited way. We have a law on electronic securitizations, so we can transfer the property of the paper by transferring the NFT in a blockchain. Or it is intrinsic, and this is the more interesting way. The intrinsic one is the NFT which is a value from itself. Now, the cripple picture, which is well known in the public, this picture in the internet, some internet artists make a picture made from many, many small pictures. His name is Cripple, nobody knows who it is. And there was issued one NFT, one token for this cripple picture, and that one was sold, I think, for $1.2 million. Who pays $1.4 million for what here? It is not $1.2 million for a picture, because the NFT is not the picture. The data of this picture is not in the NFT, in the token. It is also not $1.2 million for maybe a license to use it exclusively, because the license is also not programmed in the token. The license, it is contract. A contract can be done by making a smart contract, combining that, but this is not in this token which was sold. The token is only the token itself, intrinsic, the value comes from itself, because the token says, I'm token of the NFT from Cripple, of the picture of Cripple. Same as you can make it from Mona Lisa in Paris. You have issuing 2 NFTs of the Mona Lisa, then you will have one, I have, and then we can say we have the NFT of Mona Lisa, and there are only 2 in the world, in the blockchain. We cannot add more. So this is, first of all, one part of property, right? Because it's a limited thing. It's economically very interesting because we have a limited offer. But we still don't know what is the NFT. The NFT is nothing else than nothing else. It is nothing. The intrinsic one is nothing. 0 and 1 binary. This is the typical way for the internet economy. Anything we handle and anything we deal in the internet economy is actually nothing. It's just data, but the NFT is even less. And why is 1.2 million the value of it, which was paid? The value is always what the market is willing to pay for something. The value is nothing objective. We cannot say this has a fixed value, that has a fixed value. As long as someone pays for that, it has a certain value. This is because this is the reason why it's so stupid to say, oh, this is too expensive, this is not worth it. Just because, for example, you see some gemstones which are very expensive, and you say it's not worth it to pay 1 million for this gemstone. It is worth it because someone wants to pay that. As someone wants to pay that, this is worth it. This is economy. This is the market. Yeah. So the NFT, I read a very interesting citation of a colleague of mine. He said the value of an NFT is comparable with the value if you are owning some artwork, historical important artwork, and you give that artwork to a public museum because you think it is necessary for the public, and you give it forever to that museum. You make a contract with them that nor you nor your heirs, your heirs will ever take it back. And you have no power over that artwork. You cannot take it back, you cannot sell it, you cannot use it, you cannot hang it to your living room. But you can say, I'm the owner. You can go every day to that museum with your friends and say, look, that part of artwork there is very famous, right? I'm the owner. But this ownership does not give you anything. But you can say you are the owner. So the NFT does not give you anything, but you can say you are the owner of the NFT of Krippel's picture. Interesting, right? I don't want to go much too deep because now we can discuss about many things. For example, how we evaluate it in the market. Market value comes from demand and offer. Yeah? There is only one NFT, okay, it's rare, there is demand. Yeah, but basically, and this is bringing the NFT nearer to the property of things than to the service or the things which are normally in the internet. Because if you have Netflix, for example, you have a Netflix membership and you look movies, the movies are nothing, right? But it is not limited. Anybody can copy that movies, or you sell your private data to Meta, which is the case in the European law. We say that the data is the payment for the service of Meta. You can copy that everywhere. You can give the data to anybody. So it is not a limited offer, but the NFT is limited. This is one point, makes it close to the property, and this is very interesting also for the social structure and for the social purpose of NFTs. And the NFTs have another point, because the interference with ownership and possession by these augmented reality issues, for example, I put something in your garden or we add something to a building or so, is raising question, what makes the virtual things and the augmented reality things, the virtual things which come by this application, what makes it close to property and what makes it close to things? And if we say we add it, then normally it's fluctuant. It can be going away. Once I take the glasses away, we don't see that anymore. But in the other side, it is very persistent, because when it's in the blockchain and when it is securitized by a certain NFT and by smart contracts, which giving the license in that way, we have a persistence, because you can technically, in the future at least, we will be able to do that, like this, that we have a certain platform. Anybody who is in the platform will see that, and nobody can change it because it's saved in the blockchain. And then we have persistence. So we have now something which is missing is we cannot grab it. But we can grab it with our avatar. Next one? So, yeah. This is not so important for us. Back. Or can I? Yeah, I can. Oh, yeah, here. This is by the way, this cripple picture. Yeah. How much? People, not cripple, people. It's not saying how much. It was more than $1 million. they sold that picture, not the picture, the NFT of it. So next one. Yeah. Now we come to another aspect, the personality in the virtual space. And when my assistant wrote that article 2006, I want to show you the situation of this role game. In a role game, you have a account, and Indonesian researchers already write about that qualification of accounts. I just found an article from 2020 writing about that. So don't think Indonesian researchers are not innovative. There are a lot of innovative thinking about it already, but they did not write yet about the avatar. I'm not so interested in the account. The account with that platform owner or platform user, between owner and platform user, is just a contract. This is just contractual. This is not problematic. The contract is given, we make the contract, we pay for that, and we can use it. But more interesting is what we do with the account. We use the account to play and to walk around in this virtual world and play games, and then we fight with a lot of orcs and monsters and other enemies, and we have an avatar, can look like, I don't know what, like maybe like this here, next one. Yeah, like that, yeah. I can make my avatar like this, or I can make my avatar like that, and I can make even an evil koala. If I want to be evil, then I can be a monster koala, or I can be a monster Koos, or whatever, yeah. So I can do my avatar however I want. However I want. And with that, I walk around in the virtual world, in this role game, or in the future metaverse, and sharpen the character of my avatar. Fighting, winning something, gaining virtual money, buying new swords, adding some magic to the sword, and then my sword will be stronger and stronger, the avatar will be stronger and stronger, and then later I will have a very valuable avatar. And we had a case in the Netherlands some years ago. Some guys were kidnapping another boy and forcing him to give out the password for his account in one of these role games. And then they took away his avatar and his property in this real world. And the Dutch court had to decide whether that is theft in the criminal law or it's not theft. And for theft would speak, it's not against theft would speak, it's not a thing. It's just a word and it's just the avatar. But the Dutch court said this is theft because it is a property. This avatar and this word is property. And there was similar cases in South Korea and in China. In China, they even sold these words in the eBay platforms. So this is very interesting because if we talk about the qualification of the virtual things, it applies everything what I said before. And 2006, we were of the opinion that this is only part of the contractual situation. Why? Because the owner of the platform can always switch off our account, and then we don't have this word anymore. Everything is dependent on the owner of the platform, whether the owner of the platform let us play or not. If the owner of the platform says, we don't want that this guy is playing anymore with us, then your word is away, it's nothing, it's not persistence. Yeah? But if in the future we would say, okay, there is a token, and then we have a right to use it, maybe also in other games, then the persistence is coming, and then we have a change of paradigm. But what is with avatar? And already 2006 we said the avatar is something different. Even if we have a contractual situation, the avatar is expression of personality. Because I want that the avatar looks like that. So if it's expression of personality, then it is protected from the wish of the platform owner. The platform owner cannot just take away my personality. There is a right which is over the contractual right of the platform owner. This is something similar if you think if someone has a monopoly. Of course, a monopolistic company can do whatever they want. They have the right to do contracts like that, but there is a limit to it because it is not good for the society if there's monopolistic abuse. And something like that is this here also. There is a contractual right of the owner of the platform, but if they do it, they must be careful not to infringe the rights of others. And one of the rights of others is the right of the personality of the owner of the avatar. Now, this is one problem, but the other problem is, first of all, yes, I think for the future we must protect the avatar in a special way. So the avatar has a defense function and a shaping function. Especially if the metaverse comes and we have not only some limited game, but we have a world over the world going metaverse, which is everywhere where we are. We can always switch on and go to that world. If that is the case, then we have an essential facility because we need to use that. Like we have the internet now. If the Americans decide to switch off the internet, sorry, then we all are really in a heavy problem. If now imagine one person owns the internet, then I'm sure the Americans would say, okay, you are the owner of the internet, but we expropriate you because the society needs the internet. So if the metaverse is really so successful as Zuckerberg wants, then Zuckerberg will lose the property of it. Because then the governments will say, this is an essential facility for the society, and we cannot let it in the hand of Mr. Zuckerberg, who can decide whatever he wants there. Because then the interest of the people using this and moving there and living in this world will be higher than the economical interest of the Meta company. And so we have already the idea that the avatar must be protected against this discretion of the owner of platforms. So it must be free from being objectivized, it must be free from being controlled, it must be free from being manipulated, there must be a freedom to decide about appearance, freedom to create virtual personality, right to avatar. Now this is for the communication science and for the development of the society another problem which not often discussed in that context. The problem is, one side is we protect the avatar, one other side is if we protect the avatar like that, what will it make with our society? Why? Because when we talk each other here, then I see you all, and if I come back, then maybe I recognize you, I remember you, and I know I talk with that miss here, with Bu Happy Wulandari, I talk with you, and I will talk with you again, and I know how to communicate with you. Maybe we can communicate, then I will be happy to communicate again, or maybe we cannot communicate because there's antipathy, then I will avoid it. But I can adapt my behavior to the communication I have as an experience with you. If we would be here in the metaverse, how is it then? Then you maybe are the koala bear, and I'm an elephant, and she is a troll or an orc, and there is Hobbit, and next year you will be not a troll, you will be the Hobbit, or you will be an ant, or you will be friendly or not friendly. I mean, we all have fantasies, we all want to be free, yeah? So maybe tomorrow I want to be evil, and I will behave very bad there. Always want to try. The phenomenon, you will know what happened in the social media. The people, if they are in real life, they are behaving and complying with the social rules, but as once they are anonymous in the internet, they behave bad and make horrible things there and make hate speech and make bullying and I don't know what. What they would not dare if they were in the real life. And that is worse and worse if we have the metaverse, because then we also lose any point of trust in what our counterpart in communication will be. I cannot trust that you are the one I know, because tomorrow you can be someone totally different. Nobody ever discussed, at least not in Germany, at least as I know, about the social implication of that. It's not only a legal question, it is a social question. It's a sociological question. We must understand that if we have really this vision of Zuckerberg, then our society rules of communication will change totally. So, or the governments would be able to imply rules which force the people to keep a certain foreseeability in their personality shaping in the metaverse, or we must adapt our behavior to these fluctuating personalities which are dealing with us. So this changed the rules of trust. And law is nothing else than an instrument for trust, for making trust easier, because with the law we can foresee that the law will help us, it will protect us from certain abuse in the society and so on. But now we have no individual trust anymore because the avatar can be all the time, every day, someone else and someone new and can behave different. And who tells me that the avatar keeps the name? So there will be, it is very clear, there will be, of course, rules which say you are forced, if you are in a metaverse, to have your identity. You will have a personality, you will have an ID card, you will have a passport, something like that, an internet ID. But how to make the internet ID fix? So will there be new criminal delict of changing your internet ID? So the government issues internet ID. This is the internet ID. You have to have it, show it always in the metaverse. But if you want to be the koala tomorrow, this is not in your internet ID. Is it a criminal delict? Can be. But then, will the government be able to enforce that? Will the states, not only government, will the legislator, will the states be able to enforce that? So, I say no. And why not? Because the metaverse is not territorial. The metaverse is something in the US, but even not for the US territorial. The metaverse is something which is in the internet, and the internet is everywhere. Everywhere and never, and nowhere. You are in Indonesia, you go to the metaverse, you are in a totally different space. Without state sovereignty, without state legislation. And if the Indonesian state says you need your Indonesian internet ID card for saying this avatar is that one and you cannot change whatever you want, then we must ask how Indonesia want to enforce that if you do that in the metaverse. And you cannot enforce that. It's already not possible to enforce many things. We talk about hate speech in Indonesia a lot. Yeah, I mean, if hate speech comes from US, or China or whatever, how you enforce that? You will not grab the people. You will not know who it is, and nobody will give you the people. They will not be so stupid to show you their ID card. And also you don't have the legislative power to forbid something, because what is allowed in Europe is not allowed here maybe. So if I write in the internet something which your law of order in the public order or something like that, not allowed, then it's not good for Indonesia that people can read that here, but you will have to accept that, because you cannot forbid me to write something in my computer in Germany. If if I'm someone writing something critical about China's president posting the Winnie the Pooh photo, then actually President Xi cannot forbid me that, because in Germany it's not forbidden to make satirical pictures about President Xi, and it's not my president. Yeah, of course, when I go to China, they can sue me, but I will not go to China. So what is the remedy for China? And China takes that solution. China makes censorship, that's it. They don't allow Meta. But this is not the solution for us, because we are democratic countries and we have a certain freedom range in our constitutions, and we cannot make just censorship. So, and even if we make censorship, this will not be a hard censorship. Anybody knows we can use VPN and so on and so on. We can anyway find the information. Only the Russians and the Chinese can do that, and North Korea can do that. Do we want to be like North Korea? I doubt that. So, the essence of that is we will not be able to control that, and that means the whole solution for this problem of the fluctuant personality in the virtual reality, and the whole solution for the change of communication rules in the virtuality will depend on the individual itself, and will depend on the compliance of the companies who are interested maybe in certain markets and will comply, but first of all in the individual itself. So before we allow these issues here, before we bring, and they will come sooner or later, of course, nobody will avoid that, we should discuss and we should have an idea how we want to change our behavior. And with the society we have it now, we will have a heavy problem, because the society is not critical enough with what they issue to the internet. So about these communication things, I think for the solution, we need a new person. We need a new citizen for that. The netizen is not yet ready for the virtual world. The netizen is still a person who is based in the real world and thinks everything is going after the rules of the real world. But the communication is a totally different communication, And yeah, I'm very pessimistic about that. But it's a very interesting topic, and I think you understand now, and this is maybe the essential thing of it. I mean, I'm from the law, and you can ask why I should talk in front of you communication science. But again, I tell my students, by the way, I'm not from a law faculty, I'm from faculty for organizational science and economic science. So we are a heterogeneous faculty, and I tell my students, it is totally outdated only to see your own topics. We cannot solve these problems of the future if we do not make really interdisciplinarity. And the really interdisciplinarity does not mean we write a book with a chapter where I write something legally and then you write something which is a little bit belonging to the topic from your part, and then someone from economy writes something which is interesting him. And we put it all under the topic digitalization. No, we must really find the connecting points where one of the science needs the help of the other science. And I need, for example, as a law guy, the help of the communication science and of the psychology, because I must know how the people would react. So we need empiric for that. I'm not an empirical guy, I'm a normative guy. So I need, for my research, for my studies, I need empiric. And empirical things you can do, I cannot do that. And I need, for the idea, how will be the platform economy of the future, I need the economists. And the economists do it in a different way. So I discussed with my colleagues in Munich about what is the value of the data. If I pay with data, yeah, they must have a value, right? If I pay with rupiah, we know there is a certain value behind this rupiah. The value is in this exchange rates said. It's also market value. But my colleague said, oh, if you pay with your data for the meta service, then the data are money. So what does that mean, money? So I'm my own bank, right? Because I can give the data to thousands of companies, so I can make a lot of money. Yeah? So this is, what is the value of that money? Rather, it is a good. And for final, I want to say about the book. This book is talking about internet economy is very interesting, because KPPU was dealing about that, by the way. They are thinking about what is the product Facebook sells. What is the product Facebook sells? We don't know that. The product Facebook sells is also data. They don't sell only. The EU thinks the service they give to the users is the product, and I pay with my data. But actually, Facebook is a reseller of data. And the value of the data is given by the connection of my private data with something they connect with, and then they sell it to companies, and then the companies can profile me. And now think, Facebook does that in the metaverse. How many data they will have, how many they connect. So this is the product, and what is the value of that product? Because it's nothing. So for that, I need the economists. So this is the quintessence. We need more interdisciplinarity in that, and that's why I'm so thankful that you listen to me today about this. This is not so deep as I would do it in the law faculty. So my presentation is a little bit longer, but I will leave it by here because I don't want to bore you with the comparison between the term of property in the German, Dutch, and Indonesian and American law. This is maybe not the point. For me, interesting is that you understand where we have the future problems, and that we have no solution in the moment for that. We discuss a lot, but we have no solution in the moment. And I cannot imagine what happens. It will turn our society upside down. And if you see that the loss of the sovereignty is very strong, that the companies cannot be controlled by one government anymore, by one state anymore, unless you make strong censorship, then you see also that we cannot trust anymore in the help of the law. So this is another important point for this digitalization. The digitalization, in my opinion, this is an idea I got today, change the societal, let's say, community aspect of the society to a very, very strong individualistic aspect, because it all depends on the individual in the future. The society will not be able to help us unless we have rules in the society which will be obeyed, and we can, of course, control these rules to be obeyed by the local law, but more or less we will be dependent on that we ourselves protect ourselves and not post our children and our dead Oma in the internet, in the Facebook, and not give all the time out our information about us. Be sparing with your information already now before it's too late. Thank you very much.
Alright, thank you Mr. Koos. Sekarang saya coba akan menjelaskan sinopsisnya kepada teman-teman semuanya. Jadi ada inti dari Mr. Koos tadi adalah menyebarkan urgency kepada kita semua, because he sees it now, dan mungkin kita belum notice. Jadi seperti kita ketahui bersama bahwasannya untuk dalam bidang teknologi, Jerman punya keuntungan di mana dia adalah negara bagian ketiga, developed country, so everything is start from there, just like Jakarta first and then Sumatera then, right? Sampai sana masih oke kan? Masih bisa ngikutin? Oke, lalu sekarang poin adalah urgency. Ada sebuah kondisi hari ini yang sedang terjadi, kalau kita nggak keep up, kita nggak notice, something going to happen. Sementara sistem hukum di negara-negara lain itu nggak bisa masuk ke kita. Sistem hukum yang berlaku di Amerika, berlaku di Jerman, walaupun menguntungkan menurut kita, tapi nggak bisa di sini. Karena apa? Karena hukum itu berteritori. Itu poin pertamanya. Jadi dari contoh yang diberikan seperti Pokemon, contoh ya, seperti yang tadi menjelaskan tentang ownership dan virtuality, diberikan contoh tentang Pokemon. Anda tahu Pokemon Go kan pernah main pasti masa yang lalu. Di Pokemon Go itu Anda lihat melalui layar di sini dan kemudian Anda jalan-jalan nangkap Pokemon. Tapi di saat bersamaan Anda tahu Anda trespassing lingkungan orang kan, halaman rumah orang kan. Nah, let's say di Indonesia masuk halaman rumah orang lain sopan tidak? Tidak. Rumah orang Anda masuki maling bukan? Maling. Tapi apakah ada bahasa hukum di Indonesia yang bisa memastikan bahwasanya itu perbuatan percobaan pencurian? Belum ada. Karena terjadinya di sini. Anda bisa bilang, saya cuma main Pak. Nah, itu urgensi saat ini tidak ada. Kesepakatan bahasa hukum untuk di dunia virtual dengan di dunia realita kita. Padahal zaman sudah ke arah sana. Ini urgensi bukan? Hari ini mungkin anak-anak kos, Anda lihat orang paket aja berhenti depan rumah mungkin deg-degan. Ini paket apa polisi, ini paket apa polisi gitu-gitu. Kira-kira kayak gitulah. Contoh dengan Pokemon tadi. Lalu dengan avatar change, kalau misalnya hari ini avatar change itu tidak Anda miliki sebagai properti Anda pribadi, saya bisa pakai gambar mata aja sama hidung sama smiley, terus saya kontak ke Anda, terus besok mungkin parahnya mungkin saya bisa minjem duit, habis saya dapat duitnya saya berubah avatar saya, Anda nggak akan tahu saya yang mana lagi itu, satu. Terus yang kedua, seperti copyright di video atau di lagu. Kalau kita menciptakan jingle atau membuat video terus copyright-nya ke kita, gimana coba? Padahal itu punya kita yang create. Hal sama terjadi tentang avatar ini. Hari ini menurut Mr. Koos harusnya avatar itu di-treat special way based on the representative of yourself. Jadi saya di dunia realita begini, di dunia virtual harus saya juga. Sehingga komunikasi atau transaksi yang posibilitasnya terjadi di virtual tetap ada base grounded law-nya yang bisa memastikan trust di antara kita. Hari ini itu belum ada, makanya urgent. Nah itu yang dipropose sama Mr. Koos untuk Anda sadari. Hari ini avatar itu masih dipegang sama Metaverse. Metaverse punya Facebook, Facebook punya Mr. Zuckerberg. So now imagine Anda punya diri Anda, tapi hak untuk freedom-nya bukan ke Anda, melainkan ke satu orang, yaitu Mr. Zuckerberg, the owner of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. Jadi urgensi di sini yang belum dideteksi oleh pemerintah kita dalam konteks hukum dan kesadaran hukumnya oleh kita anak komunikasi, yang kemudian ini fragile buat kita, itu loh intinya. Oke? Lalu, dari ini atas ketiadaan posisi inilah yang makanya dibilang Mr. Koos no solution yet. Kita punya undang-undang perlindungan konsumen, kita punya undang-undang ITE, tapi undang-undang perlindungan konsumen dan ITE ini baru menyentuh istilah digitalisasi ini produk, pengguna, penjual, provider. Masalahnya di digitalisasi bukan hanya ada penjual produk dan provider, ada AI di sana, ada big data bermain di sana, ada teknis belakang layar yang perkataannya itu kalau dihukum harus exact. Kalau nggak bisa. By assumption hukum tuh nggak bisa. Makanya harus ini tuh dipaparkan siang hari ini. We're memberikan Mr. Koos kesempatan ke kita supaya kita tuh anak komunikasi as well-informed society. Kamu tuh bisa bawa ini keluar. Ini tuh urgent, gitu loh. Dan untuk itu metaverse kan baru di-apply di US. Karena masih punya Facebook sama Pak Zuckerberg kan. China adalah salah satu negara yang tidak melakukan itu. Dia provide, bahkan dia punya Google dia sendiri. Korea punya Google dia sendiri. Dan skema-skema seperti itu. Kita enggak, kita masih pakai punya, kita ada tapi yang kita pakai punya US. Jadi makanya lebih fragile di kita dibandingkan yang di Jerman ataupun di China. Karena mereka punya itu sendiri. Cuman kita nggak bisa nolak karena kita demokratis country. Kalau kita apply seperti di China, kita akan berubah. Dan otomatis pasti ribut-ribut itu lebih banyak, lebih besar, gitu loh intinya. Lalu dari itu semua adalah kenapa itu bisa muncul, kalau menurut Mr. Koos adalah resikonya adalah privasi bisa jadi nggak ada. Jadi kalau misalnya tidak ada hukum tadi, tidak ada kesepakatan kata, law terminology yang disepakati oleh kita semua dan juga dilandasi oleh hukum, maka kita sulit mempercayai satu sama lain. Saya tidak akan percaya sama teman-teman semua kalau kita ada transaksi atau benar ya jumpa besok. Kalau nggak ada rasa percaya, otomatis kita pengen tahu orang itu lebih dalam kan. Tanggal lahir, rumahnya di mana, lokasinya di mana, bapak ibunya siapa, sekolahnya di mana. Yang mana hal yang menurut Anda normal ini itu adalah privacy, pelanggaran privacy. Yang menurut hukum European Union itu di-keep, itu nggak boleh. Anda silakan cari datanya Mr. Koos di Google, mungkin tidak ada. Karena saya sudah cari, Mr. Saya tahu usia tapi saya nggak tahu tanggal lahirnya kapan. Nah, di naskah European Union itu ada istilah-istilah hukum yang terkeluarkan berdasarkan kasusnya gitu. Nah, kita berdasarkan undang-undang hari ini itu belum ada. Makanya Mr. Koos ada bikin tulisan untuk provide itu ke negara kita dari sudut pandang saintifik gitu, untuk provide ini hukum kamu harus update gitu loh, istilahnya itulah yang terjadi. Nah kita kan karena nggak punya safety net, jadi safety net kita itu belum safety yet, jadi kita perlu tahu orang, padahal di saat bersamaan kita nggak sadar kita lagi crossing privacy. Nah karena semua kita kayak gitu, jadinya ini bakal jadi susah menegakkan privacy. Jadi kalau hari ini Anda pengen punya privacy, tapi kalau Anda masih melakukan hal itu namanya udah nggak bisa lagi. Privacy untuk dibangun di antara kita itu akan sulit. Padahal kita sebagai human perlu privacy. Kita belajar komunikasi dan komunikasi interpersonal tentang kesatuan aku. Nah untuk menjadi aku tuh Anda butuh privacy, tapi kalau nggak ada bagaimana aku menjadi aku? Tuh, efeknya ke kita tuh di sana, gitu loh. Oke, dapat ideasnya? Urgensinya oke? Oke, siapa yang punya pertanyaan boleh ditanya sekarang juga. Pak Benny, boleh Pak Benny. Tuh.
Cek satu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, Professor Stefan. I'm sorry, my English so bad, so I ask in bahasa.
But did you understand it?
Yes, little. But it's okay. Udah happy di sebelah. Tapi ini pertanyaan yang sebenarnya penting ya. Memang kalau kita bicara, if you talk about metaverse, of course itu semua mengenai binary, ya, kode. Sekarang kan memang zamannya seperti itu. Di Indonesia, Happy boleh perketat biar kayaknya nggak panjang nih. Di Indonesia memang ini baru 3-4 bulan belakangan metaverse hype, ya metaverse become conversation in Indonesia. 4 bulan belakangan lah mungkin ya Pi. Dan apalagi kalau anak-anak sekarang taunya Guzali ya yang main NFT, ada seorang pemuda yang he took a picture in front computer every day dan dia edit, kemudian dia sell to NFT, dan ada orang yang beli dengan harga mahal ini Indonesia. Jadi itu yang mungkin menjadi satu fenomena di Indonesia yang baru-baru ini muncul di permukaan. Kemudian of course phenomena of metaverse make a problem. Profesor Stefan bilang bahwa there's a problem in law. Kemudian in communication sosial tentu ada masalah jadinya ketika metaverse ini sudah besar. I love watching movie, Profesor Stefan. Saya suka nonton film, and one of most film yang saya tonton itu title is Ready Player One. Ready Player One. Jadi memang film itu menceritakan all about metaverse. Kira-kira ke depan dunia seperti itu di film itu. Dan film itu rilis 2018 Hollywood movies. 2018 rilis, dan di Korea Selatan, South Korea, ada juga film yang bicara mengenai dunia virtual, game virtual yang based on augmented reality itu, yang pakai eyeglass itu, dan 2018. Jadi negara-negara yang memang agak gencar dengan teknologi, dia sudah memprediksi itu dan sudah bikin filmnya untuk kita gitu. Tapi memang tadi yang saya tangkap dari Prof Stephen, beliau mengatakan belum ada opsi untuk untuk mengakomodir ini gitu ya, Pi? Betul ya. Tadi saya Prof Stephen bilang metaverse is not territorial, gitu kan. Berarti sampai detik ini pun Jerman belum Prof Stephen cuma bicara mengenai bagaimana hukum mengcounter itu jika terjadi kan, bukan mengakomodir kan. Karena memang di Indonesia juga jangankan mengakomodir, mengcounter aja belum dibikin hukumnya gitu ya. Yang baru ada undang-undang ITA dan segala macam, yang itu ya betul kata EP, belum bisa mengakomodir kalau metaverse itu memang benar-benar sudah dipakai gitu ya. But pertanyaan saya, my question is, kalau misalnya nanti di Jerman, Happy tolong tanyakan ya sama Prof. Atau kalau misalnya entire of world using metaverse, so siapa yang bikin peraturan nanti? Siapa yang bikin rule gitu? Kalau semua pakar hukum di negara masing-masing mengurusi negaranya, tetapi metaverse ini dengan sendirinya berkembang tanpa kita bisa batasi, so siapa yang bikin hukum kalau terjadi pelanggaran-pelanggaran hukum di dunia metaverse? Oke, thank you, Happy. Please translate to Professor. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody will. Maybe we will have, you know, the basic theory, teori yang basic di atas semua adalah teori hukum jus gentium dan hukum internasional dan krisis hukum internasional. Saya mau explain. Want to tell you what I mean with that. So, hukum semua, basis hukum semua itu territoriality dan sovereignty. Ya? Kalau negara punya hukum itu expression sovereignty dari negara ini. Kalau ada power to give hukum, legislative power, this is part of the sovereignty. Now, all the law before, since the becoming national states in the history, is based on this sovereignty idea and on the limiting of the sovereignty in the borders of the territory of a state. And since many years already, since decades, I make commentary on that. In Germany, in already 6th edition, we discuss about how to limit extraterritoriality. So it's very easy, you don't have to be a lawyer for this, because you just have to follow the news. Yeah, we know all that China all the time says, this is interfering in our inner affairs, this is interfering in our inner affairs. This is part of this territoriality thinking. Negara-negara tidak akan interfere dengan hal-hal yang negara yang lain. And for that we have law. International law, for example, the Jus Gentium, the law, international public law, which says countries should respect each other, should not attack other countries like Russia does now, for example. So it is against the international law, and so on. Now, if the territory is not so important anymore for the society, like we have it in the internet already with the raising of the internet, me as a commentator of the international law, for example, of the conflict of law of intellectual property rights, had a problem. Because before, we had intellectual property rights, and intellectual property rights must be differentiated from intellectual property. You have an invention, that is your intellectual property, but whether the invention is protected legally, depending on whether you have intellectual property right. And this is the patent. And the patent can only be given by for a state for its territory. This is why we don't have world patent. We have only, in every country, you have patent. Coca-Cola is not a world brand. Coca-Cola is a brand from Indonesia in Indonesia, a brand of Germany in Germany, a brand of US in the US, a brand of South Korea in South Korea. So we have a bundle of Coca-Cola brands, national brands. And this is because of the territorial limitation of it. Why I say that? Because in the former time, when we had not the internet, you could infringe a brand when you made advertising in this country. So you hadir di negara ini. Ya, lakukan advertising di negara ini, di teritori negara ini. Tapi hari ini kita bikin advertising di internet, misalnya dari China, dari Jerman, influencing directly Indonesian territory without being in the territory. So we see here that the territory is not so important, and that is what I mean with ubiquity. Now, this is more and more raising, and already we cannot control what's happening from outside and what is influencing our countries. For example, if you are afraid of involving into your cultural identity in Indonesia, of allowing critics from outside or allowing pornography or something like that, I doubt that you will be able to keep this border in the long term. Because you can make, of course, a law which says this is forbidden in Indonesia, but nobody will care. So you can only switch off the internet, or you can find a way how to tolerate it and how to teach the people to handle that responsible. But this is all expression of the missing of the territoriality. So why I say that? Because the territoriality is away. This is what I mean with the crisis of the international law. Because the international law is handling territorial conflicts and territorial communication between states and between citizens. So, but if the territory is not so important anymore, then the conflicts and the disputes terjadi hanya di dunia ubiquity. And this is not all. It's also if there is no application of territorial law anymore, karena mungkin tidak tahu bagaimana saya di sini, di negara itu atau di negara yang lain, itu tidak penting. Kalau saya bikin kontrak dengan Anda, saya di Jerman, Anda di Indonesia, kontrak itu di hukum negara apa? Ya, mungkin kita mau itu kontrak hukum Jerman, atau hukum Indonesia, tidak masalah, tapi mungkin tidak perlu memutuskan hukum apa. So how will that work in the future? So you see already the law cannot handle that, because the law has no territorial power. Only if we willing to accept the law. And if you're willing to accept German law, then we just apply it as a rule. But how enforce it? Even if you accept the German law, if you not pay me, how I can force it? Sure, I can go to the Indonesian court, but will I do that? No. So my basic theory is that the law as an expression of social trust, interpersonal trust, and also institutional trust to the law system itself and the functioning of the law itself will be displaced by technology. First of all, because the technology takes away the territoriality and also takes away the sovereignty of the state over the social conditions. And instead of the trust in the state law, which is now not there anymore because we all feel that the state cannot protect our privacy in the internet, for example, because of this ubiquity, there must be something instead of that. Maybe some of you here in communication science read Luhmann. Niklas Luhmann, sociologist from Germany, he wrote in the middle of the 80s about the following. He said, if the trust of the society in the law as a system is diminishing because the law is not able or not willing to protect the society and the trust of the society, then the society will search for different instruments for trust. And now, what is the solution? Not the law, as you assume. The solution will be, I say that like that, will be the technology itself. Because just to keep the example of the contract, if I cannot be sure that you pay me, then in the future we will make a smart contract. A smart contract will be executed automatically. So, I sell you, for example, my copyright in a license. My copyright is somehow, technically we don't have to discuss now, is somehow connected with a token. The token will be transferred to you in the blockchain. You will be owner of the token in the blockchain. This will say us that you are now the bearer of the copyright. Not the token is not the copyright, but we can say this symbolizes the copyright, for example. And as soon as the blockchain is transferred, the token is transferred in the blockchain, you are the owner of that token, as soon that happens, the smart contract will execute and pay me the bitcoins. Without any enforcement of any state, without your wish, without my wish, without any court, I don't have to claim anymore, so I will not need the national law. And I will not even need international law. I only need the technology of the smart contract, which is self-executing. So we replace the law with technology. Because the technology replaces the trust in the society. And this is the most interesting point, which is very, very important. Because this is, from the ethic, is very difficult. Because if this happens, then we have pure determinism in the law. In the world, in the society. Because now we have law, and there will be a judge, and the judge will decide, okay, the contract is like that or like that. And the judge will read that, and then maybe there is also exceptional situation, so maybe change of the conditions, and the judge will say, for bona fides, we must change something here or we must change something there. Bona fides is a flexible concept. Bona fides will include social justice, will include ethics, and so. But the smart contract will not include ethics and social justice. Smart contract just determine and will do what is programmed. This has two consequences for the society. First of all, the lawyers will not be the ones who decide, and the court will not be the ones who decide disputes in the execution of contracts. The work of lawyers will be the programming of the algorithms. So lawyers in the future will be programmers, and not just lawyers. And you see, this diminishes the role of the law. So my answer is, how the law will control that in the metaverse? This is utopia, but come on. When I was studying, nobody was thinking about making a genetical experiment, putting some genetic of a pig or of a pavian into the fetus of a human. I mean, nobody did that. Yeah, and the Chinese did it now. And when someone wrote dissertation about that in my faculty, the people said, yeah, interesting, but come on, are you a science fiction guy or what here? And then it happened, and we have no solution for that. So it's better we discuss that now before it comes, and it will come, because what happened in the last 50 years will happen now in the next 10 years, maybe. And then it's too late. Coming back to the augmented reality glasses, when they are in the market and anybody has that, then it's too late. Yeah, because then we cannot control it at all anymore. So better we discuss all this now. So the law will not in the future be able to do that. So my idea is, if the law is not so important anymore, then we need other aspects for trust. And then we must think about how we force the programmers to put this flexibility in it. And this is very difficult because, for example, artificial intelligence is not able to be flexible. They cannot have wish. Yeah, it's always determined. And determinism is bound with, data from Venus, what I made research with, said something very true. He said, this is the revolution of the utilitarianism in the future. And this determinism is part of the utilitarianism. The technicians say, oh, this is cool. Finally, not we have these 40 people doing it, yeah? Then we can trust. See, we have the blockchain and the bitcoins come automatically, we trust. And then we have judges who are determined, and the judges they will not make mistakes, and we don't have this. Yeah, but come on, a judge must be flexible because every case is different. So a determined system which is judging me is an unhuman system. This is against humanism. And so I'm very sad about that. And I don't know if the humanocentric idea is surviving in this utilitaristic world, because it's very useful. It will be to the good of the whole society if we have all these automatisms. But the automatisms are not good. But it changed totally our society. Yeah, because then in the future we will not discuss much, because every contract, for example, is a result of equilibrance. Contracts are important. Results of equilibrance. We discuss about what we want to do with the contract, and then we have a result. And maybe you pay more or you pay less. This is the equilibrance we have here, and this is a result. Is a conflict solution, and conflicts are human, and conflicts in a certain way must be, because this is what we are. So the law will not be the more important thing. And once this is there, then how we can control it? Because if we have no control over our territory, what happens in our territory? What can we do? So I tell you now, you can foresee that all our societies will be homogenized. Yeah, homogenized. So this world society will be even more homogeneous. So if you want to keep your cultures, then you must keep it individually. But you cannot await that your government or your state or your social surrounding will protect you from being influenced. There will be people in this country who will say, I want to be one of these global netizens, and I want to think like global netizen. Maybe I don't want to do that, what my mother and my father teach me. And so we will have to tolerate that. Even if if you don't want it, or if we don't want it, we will have to deal with these things.
That is so informative that I got speechless. Like, yeah, it's right. And then, my God, yeah. And then it's like, give me an insight that I can't translate it, because at the same time I'm absorbing opinions of him, and then that's, okay, oh yeah.
But it's possible that it would happen, yeah? That it's only science fiction
Yeah,
that we do
maybe
here.
it's just about time, I guess. In Indonesia, it's, yeah.
But in Indonesia, this is a big topic, actually. Yeah?
Yeah.
Because Indonesia is for me as a Westerner, I love Indonesia. Indonesia is my second home. My wife is Indonesian. My child has double citizenship. I since many years try to learn Bahasa, and I'm every year when it's not pandemic, I'm here and living in Jakarta, and I even love Jakarta. I mean, maybe even Indonesians love Jakarta, but I love Jakarta. Yeah. So I'm actually I will die here, because we will come here later forever, so on. But what for me as a foreigner is difficult in Indonesia is that from our point of view, many things are very strict and very tight. Yeah. So for example, you have an idea about how to not criticize the government, which is totally strange for us. You are much more illiberal in some certain way. And also you have a certain censorship about things we would never talk about that, yeah? So what you call pornography, we have in our advertising in the television. This is not a critic to your society. This is just a cultural difference.
Yeah.
But it is very important because for the people here, this is very crucial. Yeah, and but you see, I saw something very interesting in Pekanbaru. When I was 12 years in Pekanbaru, before the pandemic, there were few places where Westerners can have beer, for example, and can have a party or so. After the pandemic, they told me here are 5, 6 new bars which not closed before 2, and you can have everything here. You can have live music and so, like just like in Jakarta, just like in Germany. So we see already, obviously, that there is growing a change in the society between the conservatism is maybe relativized, and this is something which, in my opinion, will be definitely coming more and more with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it depends on you whether you want that and you like that. Of course, it's totally okay. We have everyone have our lifestyle, but you know that is what I mean. We come back to individualism. In Germany, nobody cares about the lifestyle of the other. I don't care about your lifestyle. I don't care about your religion. You should not care about my religion. This is a private thing in Europe. Yeah. So I don't care whether my students agree with me. I don't care whether they should. There's just some rules for respect. That's it. And this is something you will have to face. So it will come more and more to your own individuality, whether you want to live like that or you want to live like this. But as this ubiquitary internet and metaverse will come, metaverse maybe not, but the internet is already there, and it will be more strong, and it will be more intensive, and that will give anybody who wants the ability to live his own way and to be influenced by other sources than maybe your parents or your didn't want that you read and to hear, yeah? And this is the individualism, the tendency to individualism. This changed a lot, especially in traditional societies, in my opinion.
Satu kata dulu ya, resiko. Jadi ada resiko yang kita hadapi hari ini, kita tuh orang Pekanbaru maksudnya, di mana di paragraf terakhir dari beliau, kita itu kan pemegang dan ingin memegang tradisi kan. Kita punya kita punya peraturan-peraturan dan regulasi yang kita ingin wariskan dan kita ingin hidup dengan cara seperti itu. Itu yang kondisinya, status quo-nya itu. Nah, di status quo itu hari ini dunia dengan internetnya dan dengan ajuan-ajuan metaverse dan skemanya itu akan mulai mendegradasi itu gitu. Jadi pilihannya adalah Anda mau secara terang-terangan tabrakan sama dunia, atau Anda mau integrate. Kemudian itu kemudian berlanjut dari jawaban untuk Pak Benny tadi yang mengatakan bahwa siapa yang akan in charge? The technology itself gitu. Jadi kayak teritori metaverse, it's borderless, but law has to have territory, but it's not going to apply in metaverse and also the scheme. But then it's mean we have to find the trust itself. Kita harus ambil rasa kepercayaan yang hilang karena hukum udah nggak apply lagi di sana. Tapi sebagai individu kita punya kebutuhan yang tetap atas kebutuhan untuk percaya. Jadi kita akan muncul kemudian hukum smart technology, di mana munculnya ini akan transformasi beberapa profesi seperti lawyer, pengadilan, hakim, dan juga otomatis komunikator seperti kita. Karena bahasa kita mungkin tidak lagi menengahi antara problem perebutan sawit ya, tapi mungkin antara ini Bitcoin punya siapa, terus di mana kejadiannya, aplikasinya apa. Kalau aku pakai aplikasi itu, aku pakai aplikasi ini, itu gimana apply dari hukumnya. Jadi pada akhirnya hukum di sini itu diambil oleh si smartphone or smart technology itself. Right, Mr. Koos, it's quite a bit like that, right? Or it's not? It's quite like that, right? So, gimana Bang Ben? Okay. Next questions? Yeah. Where is the mic? Okay.
Jay. Okay, good afternoon for Professor Koos. It's nice to have you with us in this opportunity to sharing about the urgencies which we are need in this. Yeah, can you hear me? Okay. Okay. So the question is that based on the knowledge you explained, there are two points I catch that NFT is fragile thing to claim as to be ownership. Sorry, because it just the data on the internet, we can own it in the real world. And also privacy is fragile thing because the user can change their avatar easily in just a couple of clicks, which means trust is rarely played on the internet. The problem is that it already happened and already turned into a serious matter in the society. So I'm thinking about possibly, is it possible for us, the society, to be educated on this knowledge like you are doing right now? And the governor will gather the result of the education and make law of it with other countries as well. So the dangerous thing that could happen because of metaverse can be countered. That's it. Thank you.
Possible di mana? Mungkinkah atau enggak untuk?
Ya?
Memungkinkan atau tidak untuk pemerintah melakukan?
Is it possible for us, the society, to be educated on this knowledge like you are doing right now? And the government will gather the result of the education and we'll gather the education and make law of it with other countries as well. That's it.
This is maybe basically a problem of the what is it? Batas antara research done public. Yeah, this is an old problem. We do a lot in research which is not perceived received in public, and who want to force the government to listen to that? I mean, you can make it in the media. So, in my opinion, what is crucial is to go out of this. I said that already in interdisciplinarity. To go out of your own. We call it in German Elfenbeinturm, the Tower of Ivory. If you are a researcher, you are so often, especially as a professor, you are in the Tower of Ivory. It means you sit in this tower very high up there, and you do your things and think your things and research and write, and only the people who also in the Ivory Towers are reading that, but not the people down there in the tower. This does not mean that we are so high, but the people who are there, they feel like that. They feel something special. So we researchers, we should also be able to talk to the public, and we should able to make it understandable for everybody. And this is the problem, because if we just under us here, then nobody will hear that. So for Indonesia, yeah, a lot of conferences will be done, and then basically a minister comes and makes a welcome speech, but then he is already gone. This is always in the conferences like that. Or a governor comes, he makes the welcome speech, he is already gone, or he even sends someone. So if he's not staying until the end, how we want to know? And of course, often the researchers speak in a way which is only in their own idea, but you must try to open it. That is why I'm not afraid of going to other faculties or talking to very young students also about that. I know that my presentations are not that simple. I know that. It is not so easy to understand. And of course, if you want to take something, you must also stay with the idea. I mean, you must try to focus. If you read comics during it, you will not follow it. It means you must be interested. But I try to make it understandable for everybody, or adapt to the audience. And this is the first step. Otherwise, it will not come to the public. And another aspect will be spread it. For example, write articles which are not in journals for the experts. Articles in the Jakarta Post or in your local news. I mean, in the local news, why not writing article about that, these issues? Yeah, shorter articles describing the problem or so. In my opinion, these topics are very interesting for the public. The public is interested in that because you see, you said it yourself, a lot of young people make money with that NFTs. So how these people come there? I mean, how these young people had the idea, let's make money with NFTs. This means they are interested in that. They play video games and so on and so on. The important thing is, and this is the education, what you mentioned education, the most important thing is to educate the people in a critical way. When I talk about the consumer perlindungan konsumen di Indonesia, saya punya beberapa research dengan koleg teman dari BINUS, dan kita berdiskusi perlindungan konsumen konsep sosial, tapi konsep sosial dari European Union itu tidak bisa simply here, because, for example, the social structure, the educational structure of the people is different. For example, if we talk about what is the average consumer, in the European, the average consumer is very homogeneous, but in here, it's very heterogeneous. If we talk about Jakarta or Surabaya or also Pekanbaru, the cities, then we have a relatively high educated consumer, but if we talk about some village in Lombok or in Flores, that will be different. And so we cannot just transfer that. This means before we can develop something, or before we make a high sophisticated law here, or discuss that on that level, we must discuss how we can change the condition, especially in that when you say about education, it is important that the people are educated. And you have a very interesting system in your universities here. You have this social service in your faculties that you must go to the villages and train with the villagers, people about legal things if you are in a law faculty, and so on and so on. This is the purpose of universities going out there, discussing with the people, make the people interested in the things. You cannot await more that the people still firstly interested and just open their ears and think about that. Of course, you cannot await that the Ibu and the Bapa in some small kampung, which were never leaving the kampung, is thinking about what is the qualification of the virtual property. But you can tell him, careful, we cannot protect you in the future anymore. Be careful what you post about your choo-choo. Yeah, this is in my opinion, one task of you, and you are the next generations. You are very young. You should not just wait and listen what is the state of the art. You should think forward, and then bring it to your friends, bring it to that. But I don't know how to influence the governor. Yeah, invite the governor all the time. Invite him to your Zoom meetings, to the Google, to the conferences, and ask him to listen at least one presentation, and then make the presentation in a simple way that the governor is interested in that. Just for that, last month we had 2 ministers in my faculty, Bavarian ministers, who wanted to know about augmented reality. And we presented. In the evening, 2 ministers, they have a very dense agenda. So they came with their limousines, and we awaited that there will be half hour, then shake hands, listen a little bit, and then go again. These ministers, both 2 ministers, the economy minister and the minister for cyber development, they stayed 1.5 hours listening to our presentation, and we presented them some app where you can make someone an African. So I showed this augmented reality, I made an app, I held the phone here, and then your picture is there, but you're African, something like that, yeah? And they were 1.5 hours in our presentation and then discussed with us until then after 1.5 hours the first minister said, "I'm so sorry, this is so interesting, but actually we must be already since half hour in another appointment." Yeah, so it is a question how you make them interested. Otherwise, nothing change.
Jadi memang ini pola yang udah ada ya, pola antara saintis kayak kita di sini, saintis, government, public. Kita pengen nyadarin public, tapi untuk reinforce apa yang kita temukan dari scientific finding kita itu nggak bisa, karena governmentnya juga challenge untuk tertarik terhadap hasil temuan kita, gitu. Dan solusi dari beliau ya, bahkan di Jerman aja juga kayak gitu. Tapi dia juga tahu bahwasannya yang penting kita mengusahakan supaya orang teredukasi dulu, menjadikannya menarik. Dan alhamdulillahnya kalau di universitas kita atau di Indonesia itu ada sistem pengabdian pada masyarakat. So within halfway lah dalam hal itu kita udah ada setengah jalan ke arah sana dengan maksud itu. Cuman memang untuk merubah itu risky dan bukan risky, resiko berbahaya bukan, tapi lambat karena karakteristik yang berbeda antara di dalam Indonesia aja sama di European country. Gitu, selebihnya seperti bagaimana beliau katakan lah. Saya rasa dengan bahasa yang lebih jelas tadi ya.
There's YouTube, right? Anyone is vloggers. I mean, why not make vlogs about that? For example, here, Mr. Radianza and me, we have the Malala show, and we made vlog Malala show, just showing how we run around in Germany, and I try to speak Bahasa with him, and something like that. Yeah, of course, not so successful, of course. Yeah, but I also, but I also have a vlog, Law Talks, where I try to make dialogues with someone. So I have a colleague and we discuss about what's about the data protection, and then when should we do it in Bahasa? No, make it in English. No, in German we make subtitles or something like that. And then, but what the background is, this vlogging is having a good reach. People look at, and universities like you don't have to make only these seminars. I know you need these seminars because all you want is certificates all the time. Yeah. But it's all about the certificates, and but if you really want, if universities really want to wear the science to the people, then you must use the channels of the communication with the people, and then you can, for example, if you make a vlog for your faculty, communication. How it belongs to all of us, something like that, and then you find topics, and the lecturers will make something, or you invite students who discuss with the lecturers. Doesn't have to be totally professional. It must just be interesting and striking topics, like something like that. Everyone is interested in that. Then I think it has a chance to have a better view also outside. And you know, there are influencers who have thousands of followers. And they will be. I made a vlog with a 16-year-old guy from Medan, from Singapore International School, interviewing even Mahathir, yeah, and then interviewing professors, Duta Besars, and so people see that. I think this is a channel which would be good.
Ya, kalau kita tidak selalu untuk membuat sains itu dihidupi dalam masyarakat itu nggak perlu caranya profesional juga ya. Maksudnya tidak ada certain formal kayak itu. Tapi kita bisa gunain yang hari inilah channel-channel seperti cara-cara ngevlog dan semua integrasi yang bisa kita lakukan. Untungnya kita Fakultas Komunikasi kan, jadi kita punya dan kita tahu speknya apa, ngapain, gimana caranya biar efisien nyampe dan lain sebagainya. Dalam sudut pandang itu, tambahan opini pribadi saya adalah kita bisa unggul di sana. Karena kita tahu what to do, what to treat to people, karena kita tahu speknya masyarakat kita gimana gitu loh. Itu menyambung dari pertanyaan mahasiswa tadi. Are we ready to the next questions? Okay. Siapa? Mari. Siapa? No, they're just hungry. They know the risk. Ya, ada. Siapa? Okay. So we are preparing for dinner. So udah selesai nih. Betul nih Pak. Okay. So Mr. Koos, do you have closing statements before we final words?
My statement is thank you for your attention. It was a good discussion, good question. Discussion actually you cannot say, but we had the question and answering was nice. I really enjoyed it here, and I hope you are not angry that I was so anarchic and changed my topic and changed also the order of my slides. So I like to make it flexible. Yeah, I hope that is okay for you, and it was not too difficult, I hope. So thank you very much for your attention. It was a pleasure.
Demikianlah acara kuliah umum Fakultas Ilmu Komunikasi Universitas Islam Riau. Saya Regina Faradita selaku MC, mohon maaf apabila ada kesalahan atau kekurangan dalam pelaksanaan acara ini. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selanjutnya akan ada sesi foto bersama yang akan dipandu oleh audiovisual Vkom. Kepada teman-teman audiovisual Vkom dipersilakan untuk mengatur sesi foto bersamanya.